Howdy and welcome back. Today we've got a pair of Christian Louboutin dress shoes, and I know I'm probably mispronouncing that, but you got a little hole there in the sole. Heel's still got some good wear, but you got a hole right there in the sole, so to replace the whole sole we gotta take the heels off. And the uppers are just in horrible shape. So we're going to resole them. New leather soles, new rubber heels. We're going to put a thin rubber sole guard on the front section. And then we're going to strip, clean, re-dye the uppers back to the original color and get these bad boys back to the way they're supposed to be. We'll start by just taking the heel block off with the heel prior. It's called a heel prior because you put it underneath the heel and you pry it up. It's got nails holding the whole block on, so you kind of have to work around it to get that whole block off. See those nails? We're gonna cut those now, and then once we take the sole off, we'll be able to hammer them back through. You see that nail right there? So these are just, the soles are just glued on. All I gotta do is get my nippers and peel up the sole. When we get done with it, this is gonna be stitched. So you're gonna see a stitch on the bottom. That way, if for whatever reason the glue starts to come undone, you got the stitch holding it down, secure to the shoe. Because when you walk, you're flexing a lot of times. Well, not a lot of times, but I mean, it did very well in this one. But sometimes it could start to peel up, and so we want to stitch that secure to the sole. And then you see those are the nails that were holding the heel base on. The rest of the nails were just holding the sole to the heel block. So these three were holding the heel block to the actual shoe itself. And what we're going to do, we're gonna put more than just 3 nails in there when we're done. We're just gonna nail everything together. When we get done, you see all those nails right there? That's holding the uppers to the footbed. So when we put our new sole on, we're gonna stitch from here all the way around to there, and then we're gonna nail the sole to the shoe, securing that. Then once we put our new heel block back on, we'll nail everything together from the inside, making it nice and secure. So we're gonna glue all this stuff back, and then we're gonna start stripping the uppers of all the color, dye, polish, whatever is on here. Here we are. Before, after, it's all stripped and dyed. It's still kind of gotta dry. There's some dark spots, but I'll show you what the original color looked like. So we're going to do this. We're gonna go do this to this shoe. Then we'll be ready to re-dye them as best as possible, as close to as original as possible. All right, so we got it stripped. Now, you see that gash right there? And all the cracks right there. I'm gonna lightly sand that to see if I could smooth it out. Same thing with there, see if I can make it look a little bit better. Okay, so here we are. I skipped ahead a little bit. We finished dyeing the uppers. Very close to what they originally were supposed to be like. Just got some dust, and we'll clean them up near the ends. No, we used a thin leather sole, kind of like what they had previously. And I skipped ahead a little bit, like I said. We got the back nailed. The shank area dyed red. Obviously we have to touch that up a little bit. And we have the front section cut out for our rubber sole to go on like that. And so that's what's gonna look like. We'll shine this up to kind of match this. But right now we're going to stitch in the groove the sole to the inside of the footbed. So that way it's nice and secure. Like I said, we nailed the back. And so after we stitch it, we'll glue this on top, put our new heel bases on, refinish everything, and then we should be good to go for a super long time. And then in the future, all we'll have to do is take this off, put a new one on, new heels obviously. But this is where we are at the moment. What a big difference the uppers are, at least from what they were to what they are now. So there we are, sole stitched with some red thread. Lightly sanded the areas just so once I get the sole and heel everything on, I'll retouch up the paint. That way it'll be a whole red bottom. Here's our red mirror sole guards, half soles, whatever. And what this does, I put it into place. You want a nice smooth transition from the leather sole to the rubber sole. And what this does is this customer can wear it and walk on it and not have the issue of the leather paint, the red paint wearing off. With the added bonus of it's cheap to replace this rubber sole instead of the whole leather sole. That's the transition I told you. You want to keep it nice and smooth. You don't want any gaps. You're obviously going to see the line. And when I retouch this up, it'll look a lot better. But you want a nice smooth transition. You don't want the rubber on top of it, so there's a lip there. But now, I'm going to get customer some new leather heel bases, and then we have these top lifts, which is not, this red isn't leather like this, so this will stay red too no matter how much he wears it. And we are done with these shoes. What a completely different pair of shoes that they are now. From the uppers, let's start with those. You remember how they looked. Now the soles and the heels. These were a beautiful pair of shoes, and I'm glad we were able to bring them back to life. Now, all that needs to be done in the future, as long as he takes care of the uppers and the soles wear out, we just got to take this sole off, put a new sole on, or half sole off, new half sole back on. Same thing with the heel. We don't have to redo everything like we did like we had to do this time. But this is fun. This took a little bit longer than I expected and that I wanted, but I'm very happy with how they turned out. Customer will get many more years of wear out of these. These are about, when I looked up online, they're about $1,000 for this, to buy this shoe. This job was $450. With all the time and energy and effort put into it, I think that's well worth it compared to buying a new one. And now he doesn't have to break in a new pair, and it's easier to resole in the future because you have to replace this and that instead of the whole thing. So saves money in the future, brings them back to life. Good to go. Thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me down in the comments, or I have all my contact information down there as well. So y'all have a wonderful day. Be blessed until next time. God bless y'all.